What's going on? So make a little update here. Gotta move some stuff around. Gotta get the grill out for dinner. But I figured while I was doing this, it'd be a good time to make this video. So I don't know if you saw just recently, but I unfortunately had to let go of Ricky. I know like most people probably didn't care too much about that car, and it was like very short-lived in terms of the content I made with it before I ended up moving. But honestly, I'm really upset because that was like the first car that like broke me out of the shell that I was in with just like all Ford stuff. You know, I was excited to get to know and learn something new. And yeah, well, needless to say, I think y'all know why I had to get rid of the Fiero to fix this. Sadly, you know, this car makes me money in more than one way, not just content on YouTube. So I definitely need to get this car fixed until financially I can move on to something else. But right now that's not happening. And not to mention just like interest rates are all screwed up on loans right now. And I'm not looking to take out any more loans. Next loan I get, I hope, is a mortgage, not a car loan. Priorities, fellas, priorities. Needless to say, yeah, sad day. Ricky's gone, no more Fiero content. I'm sure after calculating everything, every little bit of money I got for the Fiero is going towards this. Well, not that, but the replacement of that. And if you're wondering why this is just hanging there like that, some fun videos I'm working on, don't worry about that. But why this is hanging here, this is actually a good way to show you what I was planning to do with the replacement engine for Buster. So first and foremost, replacement engine will be a 2-liter based block, so closed deck, no open deck like this. 2-liter base block, built up nicely to handle 650 wheel horsepower from MA Performance. They use H-beam rods, forged pistons, stock crank, stock block that's just been freshened up and cleaned up a little bit and whatnot. And that will be the new base for Buster. Still using the HPP turbo, and everything in the valve train is going to stay the same, other than just getting the head fixed up. The cams are the same. While it's all off, I would love to see how much maybe it would cost to do a very light porting on the head. I'm not sure how much of a benefit that would yield, if it's worth the money to do a light porting. I'm not sure what gains you get from that. So I'm actually going to be taking the cylinder head very soon to the machine shop, and I'll ask them if they can, will, or know anything about it. So at minimum, at least it will be fixed. Instead of using head bolts, I'm going to be using studs. I decided to use studs, not knowing exactly what caused problems with this engine. I want to try to mitigate sealing problems as much as possible. So a 2.0 block with all that extra surface area between the cylinder bores with studs to help clamp that down a lot more, because I mean, eventually I will be running more boost. I will be tuning the car, and it will be making as much power as I possibly can on the factory fuel system and the factory HPP turbo. That's not going to be right away. Right away is just getting it running again. So that's pretty much where I'm at with this. Obviously stock, you know, everything else that I can reuse. That's pretty much the gist. 2.0 block, heavy duty internals, studs, and that way I'll be ready to hold a lot of power. So that's the game plan right now. That's where I'm at with this, and that's what I'm looking to do. I'm going to start ordering parts right away, and I'm gonna start getting things all together. I'm gonna be ordering the engine here very shortly. I'm gonna be getting that out of the way as much as possible so I can start collecting all these parts and start getting this all back together. I mean, I'm gonna be very, very busy this week because I have to get everything prepped and ready for the new engine. So not only am I going to have to do as much as I can to clean up all my existing parts that I'm reusing. Like if you can see here, I did what I could. That's like all the chunks of the piston. I tried cleaning out the oil pan a little bit. I have a lot more to clean out. I got to make sure that this is absolutely spotless. And I don't think it'll be that bad. The oil pan I feel comfortable reusing once cleaned, because I can easily see every crevice where any little bit of debris is hiding. So that I feel good about reusing. The turbo I really want to take apart and just double check everything, but I don't want to take it apart because I don't want to screw anything up. if that makes any sense. But I don't know if I feel 100% comfortable putting it back on as is. Plus, you know, I'm sure there's some carbon deposits inside that can be cleaned up while it's off. I'll probably make a whole video on just taking that apart and having a closer look of the internals of an HPP turbo. So that would be kind of cool. I know the intake manifold is full of shavings. That has to be completely cleaned out, get the throttle body off, make sure all of this is good to go. And then the last and final thing I need to do in preparation for the new engine, aside from putting the new engine together, is getting under here and getting all of this squared away. Obviously, I gotta make sure that the torque converter is seated in there correctly. I have to do what I can to get the fluid taken care of. I think what I'm going to do is fill it back up with enough fluid and do the change afterwards. Because right now, with how the car is, it's just, first of all, the whole transmission is being held up by a shovel. I don't know if you can even tell. So, you know, I don't want to be under there when the car's up in the air and I'm trying to work on the transmission. So I'm thinking I'm going to wait until it's at least bolted back to the engine and it's got good support. The sucky part is it's just so much easier because the fill port is like right there. Like I could just stand in here and just fill it with fluid. I really wonder if there's an easy way you can adapt something to that to make life easier for filling. I have to figure something out maybe. Aside from that, the only other thing I really want to be doing down in this area is just cleaning it up. As you can see, it's just filthy. It's got like dirt and mud there. Like this is a great opportunity to get in here and clean, you know, a lot of space for activities. So why not, right? And then after all that, it'll be ready to throw in the new engine. I mean, it's as simple as, like, honestly, that part of this isn't hard. I find that the easiest. Like, physically, it's the hardest, but it's really not that big of a deal. The only part I have to be sure about is make sure that is in correctly, you know, on the transmission. Other than that, it is pretty straightforward. The part that I get concerned about that I'm gonna have to do is remounting the cylinder head to the new block and retiming everything. Like that's the part that does concern me. I know I can do it. I just gotta make sure I do it right. But that's like the big variables. When you're talking about the amount of money I'm spending to fix it, you really don't want to screw something up and be out that much money. So, you know, it is what it is. And yeah, that's kind of like the game plan right now. That's where I'm at with things. I'm hoping here within 3 to 4 more weeks, it sucks that it's going to be that much longer, but 3 to 4 more weeks, this car will be back up and running again, which is good. I need it. And then I can resume life as it was, at least until the next stupid thing comes along and completely derails everything. But at least this part will be taken care of. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm excited to get it all done and over with and have that just relief of knowing it's done. You know, of course, I'm going to be making more updates as this goes along. I'm making some videos here with getting these parts cleaned up and prepped and ready, getting the engine bay cleaned up here, prepped and ready. You know, I mean, it's not going to be the most exciting content, but it's going to be some content. And then, you know, the real fun stuff is when we get the MAP block and start putting it all back together. Like, I know that's going to be more interesting videos, and that's fine. But we're going to be at least a couple weeks out from that because it takes probably 2 weeks just to get the whole short block shipped over here. So that and all the other parts I need to make it work will all be about the same time. But we have plenty of work to keep us busy until then. But I think it's going to wrap it up here for this update. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with everyone you know if you want to see more content like this and you haven't already. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Keep a lookout for next Karz Created video.